Well, hey guys, it's Spiffyguy, and I'm back here with another quick garden update. I just wanted to show you kind of what I had growing on right now. These are all my little seedlings here. You can see I've got tomatoes and peppers coming in, and for the most part, everything is starting to sprout. I'm a bit late in the season. I really should have started these peppers probably a couple more weeks earlier than I did. The tomatoes, though, they've all come up. All my blacks and the Brad's Atomic, which are a new tomato, and there you go. So basically what I do is I've got these little 4x4s. I mix up a little bit of sterile seed start with a little bit of compost, and I stick them in there, and then I just drop a little water in the bottom, and I water from the bottom. So I'm kind of running out of space here. You can see I've hit the end of my lights, and these are my pumpkins. Don't plant pumpkins early apparently. So these guys are going nuts. Our weather is a little unpredictable right now. We've still got some low temperatures, so I'm kind of doing my best to keep the pumpkins inside, but I really should have just direct sowed them. But anyway, there you go. Huge giant pumpkins. So, and I've got some onions coming in there and some green onions as well. So I do have a little bit of algae on some of these. I occasionally get that, but I've never had an issue with them impacting the plants themselves. So some of them have it, some of them don't, but for the most part I'm pretty happy with what I got going on. Let's see what else. So I do get some questions as to what I'm planting and how I organize my garden. So let me take you over to the computer, and we'll take a look at how I do that. Okay guys, so there's a lot of different ways that you can plan out your gardening. I do square foot gardening, so a spreadsheet works actually really well. So what I have set up here is I have, a grid for each one of my beds. A large U-shaped bed, a little fence bed over here, the one that's down by the gate, and then my original 4x5. And so I like to grow vertically, so I plan out things that are going to grow higher onto the trellis lines. So I've got beans over here, I've got my tomatoes and cucumbers on the back side. Those are my indeterminate tomatoes, the ones that are going to go vining. So as you can see, what I got going on here is a lot of tomatoes. I've got my Juliets and the new ones, these Japanese blacks, and then the Brad's Atomics are a cherry tomato. So this should cover most of my sort of small, medium, and large tomatoes. I have a lot of hot peppers going on here. I'm going to try to do some canning this year. That's one of my goals. And I have some sweet peppers, my standard Odas, which do well in the Friarellos. I love those. And then I also have some Ozark Giants and some Mini Bells just for a little bit of color. In the 4x5 bed, once again, I've got cucumbers. I'm going to try pickling. I've got some national and French pickling cucumbers. That would be the regular size, and then the French are the smaller gherkin size, so we'll see how those come out. And then I planned out my aromas over here, as well as a bunch of basil. Now, one of the things you want to pay attention to when you're planning this out is what plants like each other. Some plants don't like to grow near each other. Some do. So basil and tomatoes work well together, but dill and tomatoes do not. So I've moved my dill to the other side of the bed to give it some room. And then I've got a bunch of kale going in. Normally I would put the kale and the spinach and things like that into the garden barrel, but I'm going to convert that one garden barrel into a potato bin. So I'm putting the kale and stuff into the garden. So over in the other bed I've got some carrots just for grins, those pumpkins which we saw earlier, and some of the red kale, which should be fun. Now, one of the other things I'm going to do is in between the rows, I'm going to be planting in radishes and lettuce, some smaller greens, things like that that can go in between the plants to utilize the space a little bit better, and also kind of, just give me more space. On this east bed, we're just doing some peas and beans. We've got some Tom Thumbs and the purple potted and Missouri Wonder Beans. We'll go over along the trellis. I've got some lima beans here. This is a project that my son is working on. He grew some lima beans in kindergarten, and we've just continued to use him over and over. And so we're going to put him in and see if we can't get a larger yield so he has something to eat, because right now we've just been growing like one tiny little plant. And I've changed out the onions. I'm going to grow, I've got some Hishiko and Tokyo longs that I'm going to replenish the green onion barrel with. And then this Tropiana Laguna onions I've got started up, and they'll go in there as well. So that's kind of what I've got going on. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some questions as to where do I get these wonderful pictures. As you can see, I sort of have all the pictures over here with as sort of a legend, if you will, that I can drag in and use on my spreadsheet. And it's kind of useful because it does show in a square foot gardening sense how many you can put in per square. So like 9 cilantro, or over here you can get 16 leaf lettuce, that sort of thing, 16 radishes. So I got these pictures from the Gardener Supply Company. They have a nice little website, I believe it's gardeners.com, and you can go in and organize your own square foot gardening and just kind of drag some things in there. It's very useful if you have one bed or just a couple. You can kind of stick it out, and we'll tell you for the most part what will go in there, how much will fit in there, and it will give you some information on the plants. It's a very nice website, and all I did was just sort of right click, save the image, and use it on my spreadsheet. The placement is for the most part fairly accurate, although some things will change depending upon if it's a bush bean or a pole bean. They're saying 4 pole beans per square. Bush beans may be a little bit different, so you want to pay attention to that. So that's pretty much what I've got growing this year. We're hoping that the last frost date will show up fairly quick, and I can start getting some things in the ground. So I want to encourage you guys to go out. It's not too late to start your own garden and get out there and get stuff growing, because if you grow your own food, then you have control of what you're eating, and you're also eating a lot healthier and a lot of different varieties of food. So just remember that life's an adventure, and go out and have one with planting your own garden.